The Formula One world is on fire. The whispers, the speculation, the behind-the-scenes murmurs from the paddock have all converged into a tidal wave of anticipation that is impossible to ignore. What started as a few quiet rumblings has exploded into a full-blown storm of intrigue, sending shockwaves through teams, engineers, drivers, and fans alike. The reason? Ferrari's latest masterpiece, the SF-25, a machine that insiders claim could be a full second faster than its predecessor. In a sport where a tenth of a second can separate champions from also-rans, where engineers spend months shaving milliseconds off a lap time, the idea of a car gaining an entire second is beyond extraordinary. It is seismic, it is game-changing, it is the kind of development that could tear up the script of the entire 2025 season and rewrite Formula One history in the boldest way possible. The buzz started behind closed doors. Small leaks, discreet whispers from Maranello, hints that something special was brewing deep inside Ferrari's headquarters. At first, nobody believed it. After all, this is Formula One. Teams talk big every year, selling dreams of championship-winning machinery before reality hits on the first race weekend. But this time, the story wouldn't die. The murmurs grew louder, the puzzle pieces started to fit together, and then came the moment that changed everything. A Ferrari engineer, speaking on the condition of anonymity, let slip a single earth-shattering detail. If the numbers we're seeing are real, this car is a monster. A monster. A term not used lightly in Formula One, a sport where perfection is an endless pursuit and teams fight tooth and nail for marginal gains. A monster is not a car that is just competitive. A monster is not a machine that can simply fight at the front. A monster is something that dominates, that crushes opposition, that sets new standards of performance. And if the SF-25 truly is the beast it is rumored to be, then every other team on the grid should be terrified. Because this is not just about Ferrari finally getting their act together. This is about a potential shift in power, a changing of the guard, a moment where the sport itself could be turned on its head in ways that seemed impossible just a year ago. The numbers emerging from the factory are insane. Figures so good that engineers have allegedly had to double-check them multiple times, unable to believe what they were seeing. The aerodynamic efficiency, the mechanical grip, the power unit performance. Every single aspect of the car is supposedly miles ahead of anything Ferrari has produced in years. The initial projections suggested an improvement of a few tenths, maybe 4 or 5 at best. But when the simulator runs started coming in, the numbers kept smashing through expectations. First, it was half a second. Then, 7 tenths. And then, as development pushed forward, the shocking reality hit. This car might actually be a full second quicker than its predecessor. For a moment, there was doubt. Maybe the simulator was wrong. Maybe something was off in the calculations. Maybe the numbers were a fluke. But then came the private test sessions, secret runs carried out in controlled conditions, where only Ferrari personnel had access to the data. The results? Staggering. Engineers were left speechless. Mechanics, normally skeptical after years of false dawns, were suddenly walking around Maranello with a different kind of energy, a confidence that hadn't been seen in over a decade. The optimism spread like wildfire, and suddenly, a once far-fetched dream seemed terrifyingly real. The impact of this revelation is colossal, but its implications for one man in particular are impossible to ignore. Lewis Hamilton, the 7-time world champion, the driver who made the most controversial decision of his career by walking away from Mercedes to join Ferrari, now stands on the brink of potentially the greatest comeback story in F1 history. When Hamilton signed with Ferrari, many questioned the move. Why leave the team that brought him 6 of his 7 world titles? Why gamble his legacy on an organization that had repeatedly failed to deliver a title-winning car since 2008? Why risk ending his career in frustration when he could have stayed in familiar surroundings? But now, everything has changed. If the SF-25 is as fast as insiders claim, Hamilton's decision may not only be vindicated, it may go down as the single greatest strategic move of any driver in modern Formula One. The thought of Hamilton in a rocket ship Ferrari, going wheel-to-wheel with Max Verstappen, gunning for his record-breaking 8th title, is the stuff of legend. It is the kind of scenario that writes itself into the annals of history, the kind of sporting moment that transcends the sport itself. The implications extend far beyond Ferrari and Hamilton. If these numbers hold up, Red Bull is in serious trouble. Verstappen has had an iron grip on Formula One for years, his Red Bull machinery providing him with a dominance that seemed unbreakable. But if Ferrari has unlocked something revolutionary, the era of Verstappen's supremacy could be at risk. And what about Mercedes? The team Hamilton left behind. The team that once defined dominance in the turbo-hybrid era? If Ferrari's SF-25 is truly a second faster, then Mercedes is not just fighting to win races, they are fighting to stay relevant. Losing Hamilton was already a devastating blow, but watching him potentially return to championship-winning form in a Ferrari would be salt in an already deep wound. The questions keep piling up. Is Ferrari playing mind games? Are they bluffing, trying to shake up the grid before the season even begins? Or is this the real deal, the moment when Ferrari finally reclaims its throne after years of heartbreak, close calls, and squandered opportunities? The truth will only be revealed when the car hits the track for pre-season testing, when the stopwatch will deliver the only judgment that truly matters. But if the SF-25 lives up to the hype, if the numbers are real, if the whispers from Maranello turn out to be more than just paddock gossip, then what we are witnessing right now is the calm before the storm. Because if this Ferrari is as good as they say, then 2025 will not just be another season. It will be an era-defining battle, a collision of titans, a fight for supremacy unlike anything we've seen in years. And at the center of it all, a 7-time world champion with nothing to lose and everything to prove, sitting in a Ferrari that might just be the most powerful weapon Formula One has seen in decades. This isn't just another year. This is war. The claim that Ferrari's SF-25 could be a full second faster than its predecessor, the SF-24, has sent shockwaves through the Formula One world, igniting speculation, excitement, and an inevitable dose of skepticism. A second per lap is an eternity in F1 terms, the kind of advantage that turns contenders into dominators, that makes rivals rethink entire development strategies, that forces teams like Red Bull and Mercedes to analyze every microscopic detail in search of hidden weaknesses. If this performance leap is real, it's not just an improvement, it's a statement, a revolution, a defiance of everything that seemed inevitable about the power structure of the grid. But before the tifosi allow themselves to dream of a Scuderia resurgence, before expectations soar to heights that reality may struggle to reach, there are questions that need answers. How did Ferrari unlock this supposed performance? Is this genuine progress or just another illusion built on pre-season optimism? And most importantly, can it survive the brutal test of actual racing? The origins of this frenzy can be traced to leaked simulator data, whispers from within Maranello's inner sanctum, rumors spreading like wildfire through the paddock. Pre-season simulation tests, while not definitive, offer a glimpse into potential performance levels, and what surfaced from Ferrari's digital proving grounds was nothing short of astonishing. Lap times reportedly showing the SF-25 outpacing the SF-24 by a full second, a number so drastic that even the most loyal supporters had to pause. No incremental gain, no cautious half-step forward, an outright quantum leap. But not everyone is buying it. Seasoned voices in the paddock, those who have seen Ferrari's cycle of promise and heartbreak unfold year after year, are urging restraint. Veteran F1 journalist Leo Taini, a man who has chronicled every rise and fall of the Scuderia for decades, remains deeply skeptical, warning fans not to let optimism blind them to the realities of competition. Because while Ferrari may have found an edge over its own past, the bigger question looms: what have Red Bull, Mercedes, and McLaren been working on in the shadows? These teams guard their technical secrets with religious fervor, revealing nothing until absolutely necessary, leaving the true pecking order a mystery until the first real laps of the season. Inside Ferrari, however, confidence is growing. Engineers speak of breakthroughs in aerodynamics, mechanical grip, power unit refinement, every crucial aspect of performance undergoing meticulous refinement. The most eye-catching shift comes in the suspension philosophy. Ferrari has abandoned its previous approach in favor of a pull-rod front suspension system, a concept that, to the casual observer, may seem insignificant but in reality, represents a monumental shift in car behavior. This adjustment alters how weight is transferred through corners, how the front end responds to steering input, how airflow is managed around the chassis. Early data suggests that this redesign has eradicated the SF-24's biggest weakness: inconsistent balance at high speed. Last season, Ferrari's drivers battled a machine that could be blisteringly fast on one lap but unpredictable over a race stint, suffering from erratic handling that made strategy execution a nightmare. If the SF-25 suspension rework has genuinely stabilized its performance, it could transform the team's prospects overnight. But that alone does not explain a full second per lap. Ferrari's power unit, already regarded as one of the strongest in raw horsepower, has reportedly undergone further enhancements in efficiency and reliability. Thermal management has been optimized, ensuring maximum energy recovery without compromising cooling solutions. In modern F1, where margins are razor-thin and every ounce of performance is extracted through microscopic refinements, even fractional gains in engine output can translate into major lap time improvements. And then there's tire management, an Achilles heel for Ferrari in recent seasons. The SF-25 chewed through its rubber at an alarming rate, forcing the team into compromised strategies, limiting its ability to fight in the latter stages of races. If the SF-25 has been designed with superior weight distribution, improved suspension kinematics, and a more predictable degradation curve, it could be the missing piece Ferrari has desperately needed to mount a consistent challenge over a full Grand Prix distance. Yet, history warns against blind faith in preseason numbers. Ferrari has been here before, tantalizing fans with glimpses of brilliance, only for reality to bring them crashing back to earth once the cars hit the track. Simulator data, no matter how promising, is still just theoretical. The real test comes under the scorching lights of Bahrain, under the pressure of wheel-to-wheel combat, when strategy, tire wear, and adaptability separate contenders from pretenders. There is no room for illusions when the stopwatch is the only judge that matters. If, and it remains a massive if, the SF-25 truly delivers a second per lap in performance, then Ferrari is not just in the fight, it's a threat to the status quo. It would mean Red Bull's untouchable dominance is under siege, that Mercedes' revival plans need re-evaluation, that McLaren's ambitious resurgence faces an unexpected challenger. It would mean that for the first time in years, Ferrari has built a machine capable of rewriting its own narrative. But until the first competitive sessions reveal the truth, all that exists is anticipation. A tantalizing mix of hope and skepticism, of cautious optimism and lingering doubt. The wait for clarity is agonizing, the unknown stretching out before the season opener like a cliff edge, daring Ferrari to prove that this time, the promise is real. Ferrari's SF-25 has ignited a storm of speculation, a frenzy of whispers, and a tidal wave of anticipation that has set the F1 world on fire. The numbers emerging from Maranello are staggering, almost too good to be true, the kind of figures that make even the most seasoned engineers raise an eyebrow in disbelief. The simulators suggest a car that isn't just fast, it's revolutionary. A machine so finely tuned, so aerodynamically sculpted, so mechanically perfected that it threatens to rewrite the hierarchy of the sport. The question that lingers in the air like the thick smoke of an engine pushed to its limits is whether Ferrari has finally cracked the code or if this is yet another cruel mirage, another illusion that will dissolve the moment rubber meets asphalt in Barcelona. Inside the hallowed halls of Ferrari's headquarters, the atmosphere is electric, charged with an energy that is impossible to ignore. Engineers have pushed the boundaries of innovation with an almost obsessive level of dedication, a feverish commitment that borders on madness. Every millimeter of the SF-25 has been analyzed, refined, and reshaped with a kind of precision that feels almost unnatural. This isn't just an evolution of last year's car, it's a transformation, a complete reimagining of what a Ferrari should be. The aerodynamic philosophy has been turned on its head, the pursuit of efficiency taken to an entirely new dimension. The way the car breathes, the way the airflow is manipulated around its body, the way it slices through the air with a grace that defies logic, all of it suggests a masterpiece in motion. But it's not just about the aerodynamics. The power unit has undergone a metamorphosis, a rebirth engineered in the fiery depths of Maranello's laboratories. Raw power is nothing without reliability, and that is where Ferrari claims to have made its most significant leap. The SF-25's engine is rumored to be not only more potent but more resilient, more refined, more capable of delivering relentless performance without the fragile tendencies that have plagued previous iterations. It's a delicate balance, a knife-edge equation between sheer speed and mechanical endurance. If Ferrari has truly found a way to harness every ounce of performance without compromising reliability, then the implications are seismic. Italian sources, always quick to inflate expectations, claim a lap time gain of at least half a second over its predecessor. Half a second. In a sport where victories are decided by margins thinner than a strand of hair, that is the kind of gain that changes destinies. And yet, history has taught us a painful lesson. Simulators can lie. Wind tunnels can deceive. Numbers on a screen mean nothing when the lights go out and the track tells the truth. Ferrari has seen this movie before. Cars that looked invincible in the factory but unraveled under the weight of real-world conditions. The SF-90 had straight-line speed that could melt asphalt, but it danced through corners like a car fighting its own instincts. The SF-1000 was supposed to be the start of a new era but ended up being a cautionary tale, a machine so deeply flawed that it became a symbol of everything Ferrari wanted to leave behind. The ghosts of past failures linger in the minds of even the most optimistic fans, a reminder that Maranello's promises must always be met with cautious optimism. The real test, the only test that truly matters, will come when Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc push the SF-25 to its absolute limit. Hamilton isn't here to play games. He didn't leave Mercedes, the team that sculpted him into a 7-time world champion, to settle for podiums. He came to Ferrari for one reason: to win an 8th title, to carve his name into history in a way that would be impossible to ignore. His experience, his ability to extract every fraction of performance from a car, his relentless demand for perfection, these will be the ultimate measuring stick for Ferrari's creation. If Hamilton emerges from that cockpit with fire in his eyes, with a quiet but unmistakable confidence, then the world will know. And then there's Leclerc, the golden boy of Maranello, the prodigy who has spent years carrying the hopes of Ferrari on his shoulders, now finds himself in the fight of his life. He is no longer the clear number one, no longer the undoubted leader of the team. Now he must prove himself against a legend, must dig deeper than ever before, must show that he is not just a future champion but a driver who can go toe-to-toe with one of the greatest of all time. If the SF-25 delivers what Ferrari claims, then the battle between these two will be nothing short of extraordinary. Two alpha drivers, two relentless competitors, two men who refuse to be second best, locked in a struggle for supremacy within the walls of the most famous team in motorsport. But even if Ferrari has built a monster, there remains one final obstacle, one last mountain to climb: Red Bull. Adrian Newey's genius. Max Verstappen's unstoppable momentum. The RB20 is not standing still, not waiting for Ferrari to catch up. It is evolving, refining, sharpening its edges like a predator ready to strike. Verstappen has built an empire of dominance, a reign that seems unbreakable. To defeat him, Ferrari cannot afford to be merely good. They must be exceptional. They must be flawless. And so, all eyes turn to Barcelona. The proving ground, the battlefield, the stage where truth will be revealed. If the SF-25 delivers on its promise, if it flies through the corners with a poise that defies belief, if it holds its own against the mighty Red Bull, then the Tifosi will finally have a reason to dream. The grandstands will shake with the roar of a belief reignited. The Red Sea of Ferrari fans will surge with a passion that has been starved for too long. Because when Ferrari rises, the sport itself is transformed. When Ferrari is strong, Formula One becomes something greater, something mythical, something that transcends mere competition. The stakes have never been higher. The anticipation has never been more suffocating. This is the moment. This is the line between hope and despair, between triumph and heartbreak. Is this finally the year Ferrari shatters the chains of the past, the year they seize what has eluded them for so long? Or is this just another mirage, another illusion that will fade under the harsh glare of reality? The clock is ticking. The answers are coming. And soon, the world will know the truth. Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari is not just another chapter in his career, it's a seismic shift that could redefine his entire legacy. Leaving the comfort of Mercedes, the team that shaped him into the most dominant force in modern Formula One, is an admission that time is running out and that the fight for greatness is far from over. It's a declaration of intent, a refusal to fade into the background while Max Verstappen rewrites the record books unchallenged. He has tasted the frustration of mediocrity, endured the agony of driving a car that could only flirt with the podium while Red Bull soared to untouchable heights. He's tired of fighting battles that don't matter, of scrapping for fourth place while watching others seize the moments that once belonged to him. Ferrari offers him something Mercedes no longer can: a fresh battlefield, a clean slate, a last shot at rewriting history. Walking into Maranello is not just about nostalgia, about the dream of wearing Ferrari red that every driver harbors since childhood. It's about something much deeper, something primal, something that has been gnawing at him for the last 2 seasons. The hunger to prove, beyond all doubt, that his greatness was never just a product of superior machinery, that he was never merely the beneficiary of a dominant era. The critics have always whispered it, the skeptics have always clung to it, the notion that his success was inevitable in a car that crushed the competition. Now, stripped of his familiar environment, stepping into a team where he is not the unquestioned leader, he has the opportunity to silence every last doubt. If he wins a championship with Ferrari, the conversation ends. No one will be able to challenge his claim to being the greatest of all time. But the stakes have never been higher, and the risks have never been greater. The Ferrari badge comes with an expectation that borders on religious fanaticism. It is not merely a racing team, it is a way of life, a national institution, a force larger than any individual driver. The pressure at Mercedes was immense, but this is something else entirely. The Tifosi do not ask for victories, they demand them. They do not celebrate podiums, they expect them as a bare minimum. The moment results slip, the adoration turns to scrutiny, the cheers to deafening criticism. The Italian press is relentless, the Ferrari garage a pressure cooker where patience is non-existent. Every mistake, every misstep will be magnified, analyzed, dissected, torn apart in a way that even Hamilton, with all his experience in the limelight, has never encountered before. He is not walking into a vacant throne. Charles Leclerc has fought for years to earn his place as Ferrari's chosen one. He has suffered through the heartbreak of near misses, endured the agony of strategic blunders that cost him victories, carried the weight of expectation with a mix of brilliance and frustration. Now, just as he is supposed to be entering his prime, Hamilton arrives as both a mentor and a threat, an icon whose very presence reshapes the dynamics of the team. Leclerc is not going to step aside. He is not going to let Hamilton waltz in and claim authority. If anything, he is going to fight harder than ever to assert his dominance, to make it clear that this is still his team, his moment, his future. And then there is the car. The SF-25 has been hyped as Ferrari's answer to Red Bull's supremacy, the machine that will finally allow them to challenge Verstappen on equal footing. But Hamilton has seen this movie before. Ferrari has promised greatness before. How many times has the prancing horse been on the verge of resurgence, only to stumble at the final hurdle? He knows that all the talent in the world means nothing if the machinery is not up to the task. He saw what happened to Sebastian Vettel, how he gave everything to Ferrari only to watch his title dreams collapse under the weight of reliability issues, bad strategies, and internal chaos. He remembers how Fernando Alonso came agonizingly close, only to be let down by a car that could never quite match his talent. If the SF-25 isn't as good as advertised, if it's just another almost car, Hamilton could find himself in the exact same nightmare he's been trying to escape, stuck in no man's land, fighting for podiums while Red Bull runs away with another championship. And if that happens, if Ferrari is merely good but not great, the dream of an 8th world title could slip further away, turning this move into a desperate gamble rather than a masterstroke. The first few races will set the tone. If he starts strong, if he asserts himself early, if he makes it clear from the outset that he is not here to play a supporting role, Ferrari will have no choice but to back him. But if he struggles, if Leclerc outperforms him, if the balance of power shifts towards the Monegasque, then the whispers will start. The question will arise: did Hamilton make the right decision? Did he stay too long? Did he trade one frustrating situation for another? Ferrari has already hinted that team orders will be enforced if one driver emerges as the clear championship contender. That is a reality Hamilton cannot afford to ignore. He did not leave Mercedes to become a number 2. He did not walk away from the empire he helped build to be reduced to a supporting role in someone else's title campaign. If he does not impose himself early, if Leclerc pulls ahead in the standings, Ferrari will not hesitate to make the call. And Hamilton knows better than anyone what that means. The narrative of his career is at an inflection point. This could be the move that elevates him to untouchable status, that cements his place as the greatest driver to ever grace the sport. Or it could be the moment where the legend begins to fade, where the story of his dominance is gradually replaced by questions of whether he should have walked away sooner. He is playing for history, for legacy, for something that extends beyond mere statistics and championships. If he wins, it will be the crowning achievement of his career, a triumph that will be spoken of in hushed, reverent tones for generations to come. If he fails, it will be a painful reminder that even the greatest are not immune to time, that every dynasty eventually falls. This is not just another season. This is the defining battle of his career. The Formula One world is holding its breath. Ferrari, a team that has spent years balancing on the knife's edge between resurgence and ruin, is at the center of the storm. The arrival of Lewis Hamilton, a man whose name is etched in the annals of racing history, has sent shockwaves through the paddock. There is no escaping the weight of expectation, no denying the seismic shift his presence brings. From the moment he stepped into the Ferrari garage, the energy changed. The atmosphere crackled with intensity, with the unspoken reality that this is not just another season. This is the moment that will define everything. From the outside, it seemed like a dream scenario. The most successful driver of the modern era stepping into the most iconic team in motorsport. The perfect union of legend and legacy. But behind the scenes, there were tremors. The first laps in Fiorano, the minor crash in Barcelona, small stumbles, but stumbles nonetheless. The kind of mistakes that would mean nothing for a rookie, but for Hamilton, they became fuel for speculation. Had he lost his edge? Was the transition to Ferrari proving more difficult than anticipated? Was this a sign of trouble to come? He didn't flinch. His feedback was relentless. He dissected every aspect of the SF-25, pushing the engineers for answers, demanding adjustments, refusing to accept anything less than perfection. Every second in the car, every lap, every data point, he absorbed it all with the precision of a man who knows what it takes to win. There was no hesitation, no self-doubt, only the single-minded pursuit of what he came here to do. He hadn't made this move for nostalgia, hadn't left the security of Mercedes for sentiment. He was here for one reason: to win. Ferrari has been haunted by ghosts. The promise of speed, the whispers of hope, the endless cycle of potential followed by heartbreak. There has never been a shortage of power under the hood, never a lack of raw pace in qualifying. But the races have told a different story. The brutal unraveling in the final laps, the steady erosion of grip, the helpless surrender to the inevitable. The one thing that has separated champions from challengers is the one thing Ferrari has struggled to master. Tire management has been their Achilles heel, a slow poison that has sabotaged their greatest chances. This time, they are leaving nothing to chance. The obsession with one-lap speed has been set aside. Long-run consistency is the new priority. Data is being torn apart, simulations are being pushed to their limits, every variable is being controlled. Pirelli has been more involved than ever, working in unison with Ferrari to finally find the balance that has eluded them for years. Every pit stop, every tire compound, every degradation curve, it is being studied with a level of detail that borders on the fanatical. The numbers are promising. The simulations are encouraging. But numbers and simulations mean nothing when the lights go out. Only then will the truth be revealed. Yet, even if Ferrari has built the perfect machine, even if the SF-25 is the answer to every problem that has plagued them, it still may not be enough. Because there is another force at play, a battle unfolding within their own walls. Two men. Two titans. One championship-winning car, and only one who can lead it. The clash was inevitable. It was written the moment Hamilton's contract was signed. Charles Leclerc has fought for this team through years of suffering. He has endured strategy blunders that left him screaming into the void, pit stop disasters that shattered races, reliability failures that stole victories from his grasp. He has felt the sting of being the nearly man, the driver who had the talent but never the machinery to match it. Now, after years of struggle, he finally has the car. He finally has the chance. And just as he reaches the precipice, just as he is ready to seize the moment, Ferrari brings in Hamilton. The legend. The 7-time world champion. The man who has seen it all, done it all, conquered it all. The rival he must now defeat if he ever wants to be more than a promising talent. Hamilton didn't come to Ferrari to be a supporting act. He didn't come here to play fair. His mission is singular, his goals unwavering. He wants his 8th title. He wants to silence every critic, every doubter who has dared to suggest that his time has passed. He wants to show the world that he is still the man to beat. There will be no deference, no concessions. The moment Ferrari's promise of equality begins to crumble, the moment the team starts favoring one over the other, the true war will begin. Leclerc knows this. He knows what it means to share a garage with a legend. He has seen what happened to Bottas, to Rosberg, to Alonso before them. There is no such thing as peace in a team with two alphas. It will start with subtle tensions. Minor disagreements over setups. Conflicting strategies in close races. A polite but loaded comment in the press. But as the season unfolds, as the stakes rise, as victories become the currency of control, it will escalate. One will become the team's priority. The other will have to fight for scraps. And in the corridors of Maranello, behind the closed doors of debriefs and meetings, the battle for supremacy will rage. Fred Vasseur faces the greatest challenge of his career. Balancing two drivers of this caliber is an impossible task. Someone will feel slighted. Someone will believe they deserve more. The harmony Ferrari claims to have now will not last. It never does. The only question is how long before the mask of civility slips. And then there is Red Bull. the ever-present force that looms over everything. Max Verstappen has ruled this era with an iron grip, his dominance absolute, his confidence unshaken. He doesn't care about Ferrari's internal drama. He doesn't fear Hamilton's arrival. He sees it for what it is, another opportunity to destroy a legend. He thrives on these moments, on the chance to stamp his authority over a field of rivals who dream of dethroning him. Ferrari is gambling everything. Hamilton is risking everything. Leclerc's future hangs in the balance. The SF-25 could be the breakthrough Ferrari has craved for so long, or it could be another cruel mirage, another chapter in the book of missed opportunities. The only certainty is that there will be no middle ground. It will either be a season of redemption, a return to glory that will echo through history, or a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. The fans, the media, the world, they are watching. And as the first race looms ever closer, the tension builds. Because when the lights go out, when the moment of truth arrives, when every doubt, every question, every theory is put to the test, there will be no more speculation. Only reality. Only racing. Only the fight for supremacy in a season that is destined to be remembered forever.